Hi everyone. Well, here we are. Time to answer all those questions you sent me. Thank you very much for those. Um, well, first of all, when I go through these, there was a lot of well-wishing and congratulations, but I won't be reading those. I thank you for them, but I just have to save some time and only read the questions. Now there were some duplicate questions there, so I only read. I will read the first question asked, so don't be alarmed or don't take it personally if a familiar question pops up, but your name is not the asker there. But I also, a few of you asked the same question so many times, and it has been asked before, so I thought I would get it out of the way. My name is Janne, and it's pronounced that way, Janne. Hi. And a lot of people asked where I buy my games. Now, I buy them from eBay, game stores, online stores, flea markets, everywhere. Even you really can't be picky when you're a game collector. You really have to find your own bargains, and I find that is the most rewarding aspect of any collecting, is that you go to various places and really try to find the best bargains there, because these days anyone can buy anything just by going online. So collecting is different nowadays, but the flea markets, they're worth it. Most of the time you don't find anything, but sometimes you get a real bargain. But let's start going through the questions here. Nitro Retro asks, what is my favorite game and system of all time? Now, this is one of the questions that is answered on my website and has been answered on several videos, but go check out my website. There is a frequently asked questions page there. The link is on the sidebar there. But my favorite game system is Nintendo 64, and favorite game is Zelda Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64. Bert 1268 asks, why do you like the N64 so much? Well, naturally it wasn't my first gaming machine, and it's not like it's a piece of most treasured piece of my childhood. I guess the NES is, but I got out of console gaming before the Nintendo 64. I got a PC and played Doom and Warcraft and all those classics, and it was a good time, but Nintendo 64 was the machine that got me back into console gaming with Mario 64 and Zelda Ocarina of Time, some of the best games ever on that machine. And I also like it that well, everybody copied Nintendo 64. You got the analog sticks, and you got the controller rumble, and you got the multiplayer games and all stuff like that. And Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time were really significant 3D games. Games these days even borrow some of their innovations. So the Nintendo 64, while it didn't have the success, the audience of the PlayStation 1, it was, in my humble opinion, more influential than PS1. Where did we go? Cobra's Venom X asked, what is your all-time favorite game series? Legend of Zelda. Game Popper 101 asked, is there a system you cannot collect for? No. At the moment I'm not that into old Ataris or something like that. The super pixelated graphics. Those are a bit old for me, and I am too young for those machines. I didn't play them. I'm the NES generation, but I guess I will be looking into them later when everything else is collected. So Afraid for Shadow, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Will you ever think about growing a collection as big as your Nintendo 64 collection, like maybe the 360 or PS1 or PS2? I guess PS2 is my second biggest collection, over 100 games there, but mainly because the overall library is probably the biggest ever. But after Nintendo 64, I was thinking about starting to collect Super Nintendo. Same Nintendo values there, and same hard to collect cardboard boxes there. So it's a challenge, but it's also a part of my childhood. But Super Nintendo is a fantastic system. Where do we go? 5 minutes gone. Lost Sunday asks, the Ikaruga cabinet, how did you manage to get a hold of it? It's a work of art for sure. I agree. Well, actually, the cabinet that Ikaruga is running in my first video, the game room tour, it is a Naomi Universal cabinet, and it runs all sorts of games. There were well over 100 games for the Naomi, both cartridge and GD-ROM based games, and both of my Naomis run both of those formats, and Ikaruga is just one game for them. They're not cheap, especially the shoot 'em up games, because they are not that common as say Sports Jam or some Virtual Striker game. But it cost me like what, $200, but it's worth it. Pac-Man 6438. When did your video game passion started? Hard to say. I guess I was, I don't know, 3 years old when I played my first game, and I will show the machine to you once the question comes up of what was my first game. So you just have to wait for it. Zippe28 asks, Sonic or Mario? Mario. Shiv122 asks, when did you first start your collection? Now, first I had NES and Super Nintendo, and then I made the mistake that many make. I sold everything. Probably got the PC then, can't remember. I got rid of everything. But ever since I got back into console gaming with the Nintendo 64, I've been keeping everything. So I guess the current collection, I started collecting it in the late 90s. But proper collecting, with a credit card and eBay and all of that, I guess that started about 6 years ago, so not that long. Have to keep note of the time. Goblin Fan 2007, how many N64 games do you have? Well over 400. Check out my collection videos on them. CcoBG3 asked, what was the first game that you played and how old were you when you first played it? Okay, now can I get it? Wait a sec. I'm ill prepared for this. Here we go. It's a bit dusty. Mario Cement Factory, this small tabletop machine. Sunlight comes over here so you can see the screen, and actually the screen is projected upside down, and then there's a mirror that you look into here, and then you play the game. There's just left and right buttons and one button here, and you are playing Mario as a worker in a cement factory, and you try to get as many cement loads stocked up as possible. And I played this when I was 3, I guess. So this is my first machine. I still own it. Never gonna let it go. And next, what has been the most terrible game you have ever played? Balnazardi asks. Now that is a tough one. Maybe I should have thought about this when I first started. I don't know. It's funny, when you were a kid, there were no bad games. every single NES and Super Nintendo game, they were the best, because you only had a few games a year maybe. So, and every game you loaned from a friend, they were the best. But nowadays, I don't know. At my job, I play a lot of games, so there are a lot of bad games as well. I really can't name one specific game. And I guess now we are out of time, and this is part 1. Check out for part 2.